Good morning, class. Today, we're going to be rock detectives.
Nice.
We are going to uncover the story behind these rocks. Okay? Look at this picture, right? What do you notice? How do you think these layers got there? Well, you turn to your shoulder partner and discuss.
Over time.
There's a lot of cats in the range, so like a turn.
Yes.
All right, let's share our thoughts. Who wants to raise your hand if you want to tell me what you observed? Okay, Raymond.
There are a lot of layers that formed over time.
Okay, Abigail.
There's a lot of cracks, and they formed over time.
There is a lot of cracks, and there's a lot of layers. Okay, so these layers didn't just happen overnight, right? It took millions of years for the layers to form. Okay, so by the end of our lesson, you will be able to explain how sedimentary rocks form and how to classify them. So let's read our objective together, okay? Today, we will identify sedimentary rocks and classify them based on their characteristics. Thank you. So now let's connect this to what we've already learned. Yesterday, we talked about the rock cycle, right? And we talked about igneous rocks and how they're formed. So who remembers how igneous rocks were formed? Abigail?
By lava and cooling magma going together and forming the rock.
Great job. That's right. So igneous rocks form from magma and lava cooling. When it cools, it solidifies into a solid rock, right? So now let's think about what happens to rocks after they're formed. Okay. Who can guess how sedimentary rocks might come into the picture? Okay, Raymond.
They're formed by weathering.
Yeah. Weathering, that's a part of it. So rocks they don't stay the same, right? They over time wind and rain and temperatures changes and breaks them into tiny pieces. This is called weathering. Okay. So imagine a huge boulder outside. What happens to it when it gets rained? When it gets rained on, and then when it freezes? Abigail.
When it gets rained on, it creates little divots in the rock, and when it freezes, it gets wide.
It gets wide, right? Because when the water freezes, what happens to water when it freezes? It expands. And then when it expands, it'll break the rocks apart. So that's a part of, the process. So now let's talk about erosion. Now, after the rocks break down, they don't just stay in one place, right?
Right.
They get moved by wind and water, and that's called erosion. See how it just doesn't stay in place?
Yeah.
All the rocks in there are just still moving around. All right. So what happens when I shake it all up and it's a big storm?
Um,
Yes. Raymond.
All the sand and rocks move away.
That's right. Okay. Now, when the water slows down, I don't know if it's really slowing down too much. You can start to see it. So when the water slows down and rock pieces settle and they pile up on top of each other, this is called deposition, right? It happens in places like riverbeds, lakes, and oceans. So over time, as more layers pile up and pile up, the lower layers get squished.
Mm-hmm.
It piles up, getting more squished. This is called compaction, right? And when it rains and water gets into those little divots, it works like glue and forms the rock together. That is cementation. Okay? So next we're going to do a gallery walk. You're going to get to look at all these rocks close, and if you want, you can even look under the microscope to see it up closer and see what you notice. I would like to go over some rules though real quick. There's no throwing the rocks. Don't put the rocks in your mouth, and don't hit them together. So go ahead and stand up, come around. We're going to do a gallery walk. Get your pencils. I'd like for you to write down what you notice. What color, texture, if there are any layers. Very good. Each rock is different. Okay, now that you have made your observations, okay, and be sure to see if you see any layers in some of these. Okay. Okay, now let's have a seat. You've got your observations.
Yeah.
Was that pretty neat? They were all different, huh? All right, so now we are going to do a rock sorting relay. You have your mini whiteboards. We're going to classify the rocks. I will hold up a rock and you decide if it's sedimentary or not, okay? And you're going to write your answer on the mini whiteboard and hold it up when I count to 3. Oh, wait, are you guys ready?
Yes.
Okay. And go. Sedimentary or not? 1, 2, 3. Not. Good job. All right, let's do another one. Let's see. What about this one? Sedimentary or not? Everybody see? All right. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay. And let's do one more. What about this rock? What do you notice? Remember, what is the characteristic about sedimentary rocks? You guys ready? 1, 2, 3, let's go. Okay, that was fun. Good job, everybody, classifying these rocks. So now it's your turn. I have a worksheet here, and it's got different rock samples. I'm going to pass this out, and I would like for you there are 10 rock samples, and I would like for you to classify them on your own. Let's see what you know. I'm going to give you 10 minutes. So just justify why you think it's sedimentary I'm sorry, sedimentary rocks or not.
Um,
Okay, it's been 10 minutes. Let me take your worksheet. Great observation. Okay, thank you. That was fun. Now let's talk about this. Why are riverbeds and oceans more likely to have sedimentary rocks than just out in your front yard? Abigail.
um, because in the ocean there's sand and all the waves should get around and it looks kind of like what the water bottle looks like and it formed into a rock.
Okay, Raymond, did you have anything you wanted to add?
The water constantly moving.
That's right. So you have the sand and rocks in the bottom of the water, and the water's constantly moving, and that piles up. So yeah, you're gonna see more and more um sedimentary rocks in riverbeds and oceans because it's constantly moving the rocks. So let's recap what we've learned. Okay, what are the 5 steps in forming sedimentary rocks? Abigail?
Weathering, erosion, deposition, compaction, and sedimentation.
Great job. Great job. Um, let's have a class discussion. Our final questions. Okay. I want you to stand up and we're going to stand up, pair up, and switch partners. Okay? Okay. Stand up, pair up. We're going to switch partners. And I want you to discuss with your partner. First question. How do sedimentary rock layers, what do they tell us about Earth's history? Just share with your partner.
How the climate was back then.
How the dirt was.
Okay. Would you like to answer, Raymond?
The way the climate was back in different time frames of the Earth's life.
Okay. And how are sedimentary rocks different from igneous rocks? Abigail, would you like to answer?
Sedimentary rocks has sediment from layers of like dirt and other stuff that got kicked up. And igneous rocks are igneous rocks are rocks that are cooled magma and lava and they form together and it is compaction fluid.
That's right. So, what we've learned is an igneous rock. When it's formed from lava, it's cooled. It's just a solid rock. We take one of those rocks with the wind and rain, the weathering, the erosion, deposition, compaction, cementation, it forms one of these. So, over time, when it's carried by water and you have a little rock and another rock and another rock and it piles up and then you have all these layers. That makes it different from an igneous rocks. You guys did really great today. I would like for you to, before we leave, today we learned how to identify sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rock has layers. An igneous rock is just a solid rock, right? It's not a bunch piled together and glued into one rock. And we learned how to classify them based on their characteristics, right?
Yeah.
With the layers. Okay, so before you leave for lunch today, I want you to write one thing that you learned on a sticky note and place it on the exit slip board. I'd like to see what you guys took from this lesson today. Great job, everybody. You can go ahead and get your stuff for lunch and come put your exit slip on the board and go to lunch. Weathering. Layers. Good job. Thank you.